All right. Hey there, everybody. I'm glad that you have joined us today. For those of you who are with us live and to anybody that's watching on the recording, welcome. My name is Corey Jones. I'm with Compassion Works for All here in Little Rock. We provide mindfulness and meditation programs for folks living in jails and prisons. And we're happy to talk with you more about that if you're interested. Our website is compassionworksforall.org, or you can reach me by email at Corey, C-O-R-Y, at Compassion Arkansas, all spelled out, all one word, compassionarkansas.org. So that's it for introductions. We'll just jump right in. A couple of weeks ago, I tested positive for COVID, and it was a pretty weird experience. And I know that it hits everybody a little bit differently. For me, it was just severe fatigue. And I had this really weird like skin sensitivity. It would start in my like shoulders and then just work its way down throughout the day, and then finally kind of camp out down around my knees. And it was weird. It was like, it was almost like I had leaned up against a cactus and didn't quite get all the quills out. And every once in a while, something would just feel pokey. I don't know what that is, but that's what I experienced. But the fatigue was really the hardest part. I just couldn't get out of bed, and my blood pressure was super low. It was tough. And for several days, I just laid there, and it wasn't even just physical, it was also mental. I thought, well, if I'm laying in bed, I might as well read because I love to read. But I just didn't even have the mental energy for that. So I'm glad to be back up and going again, back in the office and with everybody. I bring all that up though, not just to tell you a little bit about my personal life, but because I would like to spend the next weeks in a row with these meditations, and I would like to spend the next 3 weeks talking about control and our delusion of control. Testing positive for COVID was a really good wake-up call for me to realize how little control I actually have over my life. And most of us live with this idea that we got it. You know, we've got our checklist, we've got our system, we've got our routine, we've got our thing that we do, and we're good. But all it takes is a simple illness to knock us out of that delusion and force us to confront the fact that we're not as in control as we think. And so that's what I want to dive into for the next 3 weeks and talk about how to manage this delusion of control, how to slowly start to let go of it, and some practices for helping us live more accepting of our present, while still maintaining some level of responsibility. Because for me, that's always the hard question, is what's the difference between being controlling versus just being a responsible person and making sure that you have things prepared that need to be prepared. So I think that there are some practical ways to go about figuring those out, and that's what we'll do over the next couple of weeks. So today, I just want to talk about awareness, because I think it starts with that. Becoming aware of the things that we try to control and why we try to control them. I think those are the two questions that awareness asks us to confront. What are we controlling, and why? What do we benefit? What's the good part that we're gaining from it? So I would like to take just like 30 seconds, and I'm just going to stop talking, and I invite everybody to just consider for a moment what it is that you work hard to control. Perhaps it's your time, perhaps it's your money, perhaps it's other people's thoughts, whether about yourself, about politics, about life, about whatever. And don't answer out loud, but let's sit quietly for just about 30 seconds and consider what it is that we work hard to control. And it doesn't have to be the only thing. It doesn't have to be the best thing. Just one thing in your life that you work hard to control. Let's consider that for a moment. So I hope that you've thought of something. It's going to be important for our meditation time today. So if you ignored that part, definitely go ahead and get something in your mind. For me, my routine is something that I really work hard to control. I try to be up about the same time most mornings. I do kind of similar morning routine, similar things with our kids, with our family. I try to be in the office about the same time most days. I make myself a little checklist every time I sit down at my desk first thing in the morning. And so I'm very structured with my routine. And for me, that gives me a good sense of being in control of things, which obviously I did not have when I was down on my back with COVID. Whatever it is that you chose as the thing that you control, the next question is why? What is it that you get out of it? Why is it important for you to control that thing? What does control over that part of your life bring you in terms of a perceived sense of satisfaction? For me, having control over my routine doesn't just make me productive. It's not just something helpful. I think it goes a layer deeper, and it gives me this sense of the appearance of responsibility, the appearance of discipline, the appearance that Corey's got his stuff together, and it's what other people think. And so I'm concerned about what other people see me doing. And being rigid with my routine helps me to be able to point to things and say, I'm doing this, I'm doing this, I'm doing this. And I don't know why, but that gives me a sense of satisfaction. So let's pause here for another moment. And whatever it was that you thought of, that you control in your life, that you work hard to control, let's take a moment and dig a couple layers deeper and ask why. Why is it that this is so important for you to control? So hopefully you've got it. You've got what it is that you try to control, and you've got why. One or two reasons why you feel a sense of satisfaction because of this. And for our meditation time today, we're not going to try to change our behavior. We're not going to try to stop controlling it. We're not going to try to beat ourselves up for it. We're just going to sit with it. We're going to sit with reality. This is what awareness means. It just simply means naming what is there, recognizing it, looking it square in the eye without flinching away from it. And so that's what we're going to do. And over the course of the next couple of weeks, we'll begin the process of releasing our attachments to our need to control. But for today, we're just going to sit with it and we're going to look at it. So if you will, go ahead and join me in assuming a mindful posture. If you're seated in a chair like I am, have your feet flat on the floor, your back attentive, not rigid, but mindfully relaxed. And let your shoulders fall away from your ears. And I'm going to sound our bell to begin our time together. You can either have your eyes closed or just slightly open. Don't try to do anything fancy. Don't try to arrive at some enlightened state. Just be present with what is, no matter where you are, no matter what room you're in, where you're sitting, what you hear around you. Just welcome it all in. Let's bring awareness to our breath. Just notice your breath as it passes in and out of your nose. Do your best to keep your shoulders and your upper torso relaxed. Just let the air come all the way down into your belly. Let your belly expand out like a balloon. If it's possible for you, don't let your inhale or your exhale be a struggle. And let's turn our attention as we continue to breathe to what our bodies are doing. As we sit still, sometimes sensations come to the noticeable surface. Maybe you feel your pulse strong. Maybe you feel your heart beating in your chest. Maybe you feel your pulse in your hands or in your feet. Or perhaps you notice other sensations elsewhere, tingling or stress. And try not to resist it and try not to attach any emotion to it. Just let it be, welcome it, observe it, and continue to breathe. Continue to breathe and be in touch with your breath and with your body. Let's turn our attention now to what's happening in our mind, the thoughts that are there. Again, don't try to control them. Don't try to block anything out. Just be an observer. If you feel your mind drift a little bit, that's okay. Just return back to your breath. Return back to your body. Feel your body in the seat where you're sitting. Feel the way gravity is pulling you down. Don't resist it. Don't fight it. Just be heavy in your seat, continuing to breathe, being grateful for this present moment exactly as it exists. Let's bring to mind now what we discussed earlier about control, about what you tend to control and why. And we're going to use our breath to bring that to the front of our awareness. So on the inhale, you're going to tell yourself what you control. And on the exhale, you're going to tell yourself why, what you gain from it. So I'm going to say, on my inhale, I control my routine. And on my exhale, because it makes me feel more credible. I control my routine because it makes me feel more credible. So take a moment to recall what it is that you tend to control and the reason why. And let's hold that in our awareness using our breath. On the inhale, name what you control. And on the exhale, why you control it. And let's do this for several moments. If you feel your mind begin to wander, that's okay. Just gently bring it back to your breath and continue holding in awareness the things that you control. If you notice yourself starting to attach positive or negative judgment, try to let that go. Don't feel down on yourself for the things that you control or for the reasons why. Just welcome them, hold them in awareness without judgment, without assigning positive or negative value to it. It just is. And just in case you felt negative emotions toward yourself in doing this exercise, let's end with positive energy, positive thoughts. If it helps, let a smile curl up on the edges of your mouth. Let feelings of warmth, of goodness, of generosity begin to wash over you. It might help to think of it as an actual warm gel starting at the top of your head and slowly working its way down over your face, the back of your neck, over your shoulders, this feeling of goodness, self-compassion, and self-worth, coming down over your arms, your torso, slowly coming down your back. Just feel goodness and love and warmth toward yourself. Down to your waist and your sit bones, your upper legs, your knees, your shins and your ankles. Feel this warmth and goodness come down to your feet. Stretch down to your heels and all the way out beyond your toes. You're completely covered in love, in light, in warmth, in self-worth. No matter what it is you try to control in your life, and no matter the reason why, you're still inherently good. You're still full of light, full of life, full of goodness. And let this be the feeling that you take with you as we open up our eyes. I hope that was helpful for everyone. Best of luck with being aware and letting go of the attachment of the things that we tend to control. Because one way or another, we have to confront the reality that we're not as in as much control as we think. And when we enter into that experience willingly rather than forcibly, we tend to deal with things a lot better. So my hope for you is that you will be able to release some control, release the grip a little bit, live fully aware of the present moment without attaching yourself too terribly much to the circumstances around you. So next week, we'll talk about attachment and how to let go of that a little bit. So I hope everyone has a great week. Thanks for joining us.